Have you ever been jolted awake at 2 a.m. by a sharp, painful cramp in your leg, so intense it leaves you breathless? Or maybe you've noticed something more subtle, like climbing stairs suddenly feeling like a challenge, or your legs trembling like a If this sounds familiar, in over 10 years of working with older adults, I've heard one phrase more than anything else. I'm afraid my legs are giving out. And here's the truth. Your legs are often the first part of the body to show signs of aging. But that doesn't mean you have to accept weakness or pain as your new normal. Let me tell you about Helen, a 74-year-old woman I had the pleasure of helping. She was active, proud, and fiercely independent, but then she started having trouble standing from her favorite chair. Leg cramps became a nightly occurrence. Eventually, a fall shook her confidence to its core. What turned things around for Helen wasn't medication or surgery, it was nutrition. Within weeks of correcting key nutrient deficiencies, she began to regain her strength, balance, and sense of self. And that's exactly why I created this video. Because what you're about to learn isn't just information, it's a path back to confidence and control. Today, I'll be sharing the top 7 vitamins that can strengthen your legs and help prevent painful cramps, especially for older adults. But this isn't just about facts. If you've ever been frozen in pain from a leg cramp, or worried that a simple walk could lead to a fall, I want you to pause right now and share your story in the comments. I read every one. And please, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss another tip that could help you live longer, stronger, and more independently. Because here's something most people don't realize. Weak legs are not just an inconvenience. They're a warning. They often signal deeper issues like poor circulation, muscle deterioration, or silent vitamin deficiencies that have gone undetected for years. But the good news is, you don't need to accept this as your fate. With the right nutrients and simple, consistent choices, you can reverse much of this decline. I've seen it happen with so many seniors who thought they were too far gone. They weren't, and neither are you. That's why I encourage you to stay with me until the end, because one of the vitamins I'm going to reveal is so overlooked, yet so powerful, that it could start changing how your legs feel in just a few days. Ready to reclaim your strength and mobility? Let's begin with the first essential nutrient, one that's crucial for your muscles, bones, and balance, and one that far too many people are missing: vitamin D. Vitamin D, the muscle and balance booster. What if I told you that one of the biggest reasons your legs feel weak, unsteady, or cramp in the middle of the night isn't aging? It's a silent deficiency. I've worked with hundreds of older adults who were convinced their legs were simply getting old, when in reality, they were running low on a nutrient that powers both muscle strength and balance: vitamin D. We often associate vitamin D with bone health. And yes, that's true. But what most people don't realize is how deeply it affects your muscles, reflexes, and coordination. Without it, even simple movements like getting up from a chair or walking across the room can feel like a challenge. I remember one of my patients, Carl, who said, "It's like my legs forgot how to trust me." And he wasn't exaggerating. Low vitamin D impacts the fast-twitch muscle fibers that help you catch yourself when you trip, maintain balance when you turn quickly, or even climb stairs without wobbling. The body naturally produces vitamin D from sunlight, but as we age, that ability fades. Many older adults also spend less time outdoors, whether due to mobility issues, safety concerns, or avoiding sun exposure. The result? A slow, invisible depletion that weakens both bones and muscles, often without warning. Scientific studies have consistently shown that older adults with low vitamin D levels experience more frequent falls, reduced muscle mass, and impaired coordination. And yet, it's one of the most commonly overlooked deficiencies in seniors. It's not just about the legs, it's about your independence. When your legs go, your freedom follows. Now here's the encouraging part. Restoring your vitamin D doesn't require anything complicated. Just 15 to 30 minutes of safe sun exposure on your arms or legs each day can make a difference, especially in the morning or late afternoon. Combine that with vitamin D-rich foods like fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, sardines, egg yolks, mushrooms, and fortified dairy or plant-based milk. For many, especially those who rarely go outside, a supplement of 800 to 1,000 IU per day is often recommended. If you're unsure where you stand, a simple blood test can tell you if your levels are low, and correcting it could dramatically improve your strength, mood, and stability. And here's something I always tell my patients. If your muscles are weak, check your nutrition before you blame your age. Because I've seen lives turn around. People go from fearing a simple walk to dancing at their granddaughter's wedding. All because they gave their body what it truly needed. Vitamin D is just the beginning. Now that we've built a foundation of strength and balance, let's talk about the mineral that holds your skeleton together and also plays a crucial role in muscle movement. Backhand index pointing right, let's move on to calcium. Calcium, the bone and muscle supporter. What if I told you that every step you take, every time you rise from a chair, every moment you stay upright, depends on a mineral most seniors are quietly losing every single day? That mineral is calcium, and without it, both your bones and your muscles begin to weaken, often before you even notice the signs. Now, most people already know that calcium is essential for strong bones. But what's less known, and far more urgent, is that calcium is also a critical player in muscle contractions. Every movement you make, from lifting a glass of water to catching your balance during a stumble, requires calcium working behind the scenes. Without enough of it, your muscles become sluggish and your bones become brittle. And when both start to fail at the same time, the result can be devastating: fractures, falls, and a sudden loss of independence. I once worked with a woman named Ruth. At 78, she lived alone and was proud of it. But one night, she slipped while getting out of bed. A minor fall, or so it seemed. Yet that fall led to a fractured hip, 6 months in a rehabilitation center, and the painful realization that her bones weren't nearly as strong as she thought. The cause? A slow, silent depletion of calcium that went unchecked for years. As we age, our bones naturally begin to lose density. That's a fact. But we're not helpless. In fact, calcium is one of the easiest nutrients to replenish, if you know where to get it and how to help your body absorb it. The best sources of calcium include dairy products like milk, cheese, and yogurt. But if you're lactose intolerant or plant-based, don't worry. Leafy greens like kale and bok choy, tofu made with calcium sulfate, fortified plant-based milks, almonds, and sardines, yes, bones included, are all fantastic options. And here's the crucial part. Calcium doesn't work alone. Your body needs vitamin D to absorb calcium effectively, which is why we started there in the first place. You may be tempted to reach for a calcium supplement, and in some cases, that's necessary, especially if you have dietary restrictions or absorption issues. But be careful not to overdo it. Too much supplemental calcium can lead to kidney stones or calcification in places you don't want it, like your arteries. Aim for balance, not overload. The general recommendation for older adults is 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams per day, preferably through food and moderate supplementation. And here's something few people talk about. Movement is what tells your bones where to send the calcium. Without weight-bearing exercise, walking, light resistance training, or even dancing, the calcium you consume won't be directed to your bones as efficiently. Nutrition without motion is only half the equation. I always remind my patients, strong bones don't just protect you, they empower you. And when you combine the right nutrients with mindful movement, you're not just preventing a fall, you're reclaiming your strength, confidence, and freedom. Now that we've fortified your skeletal foundation, it's time to look at something just as vital, yet far more overlooked. If your legs ever feel numb, tingly, or disconnected from your brain, the next vitamin might be the missing link. Backhand index pointing right, let's talk about vitamin B12. Vitamin B12, the neuromuscular messenger. Have your legs ever felt strangely heavy, like you're dragging bags of sand with every step? Or maybe you've noticed a tingling sensation in your feet, a sense of numbness, or moments where your balance seems just a little off for no clear reason. These aren't just passing quirks of aging, they could be warning signs of a silent, but powerful deficiency, vitamin B12. As someone who's spent over a decade working with older adults, I can tell you this. When your legs start feeling disconnected from your brain, vitamin B12 is one of the first places I look. That's because this essential vitamin plays a central role in neuromuscular communication. Think of it as the translator between your nerves and your muscles. Without enough of it, the signals from your brain can get delayed, distorted, or simply lost, leaving your muscles confused and your movements unsteady. I once had a patient named Alan, age 72, who came in saying, "I feel like my legs are trying to speak a different language than the rest of me." He wasn't wrong. A blood test confirmed that his vitamin B12 levels were critically low. After just 6 weeks of treatment, he was walking more confidently, sleeping better, and most importantly, he felt in control again. Vitamin B12 is responsible for protecting the myelin sheath, the protective coating around your nerves. When that sheath breaks down due to B12 deficiency, the nerve impulses slow down or misfire, leading to numbness, poor coordination, fatigue, and even memory problems. In older adults, this often shows up first in the legs because they're farthest from the brain and the most dependent on efficient nerve communication. So why is B12 deficiency so common in seniors? The answer lies in how our bodies absorb it. Unlike other vitamins, B12 requires adequate stomach acid and a protein called intrinsic factor to be absorbed from food. As we age, stomach acid production decreases, and medications like antacids or metformin can make it even harder for your body to extract this vital nutrient. That's why even if you're eating well, you may still be at risk. The best natural sources of B12 are animal-based, lean meats, fish like salmon and tuna, eggs, dairy products, and organ meats like liver or clams. If you're vegetarian, vegan, or have absorption issues, look for B12 fortified cereals, plant milks, or consider a B12 supplement, either oral or via injection, under the guidance of your doctor. The good news? B12 is water-soluble, so your body excretes any excess, making it safe to supplement under supervision. One important note: symptoms of B12 deficiency can creep in slowly and be mistaken for normal aging. But once nerve damage progresses too far, it may become permanent. That's why early detection and action are key. And here's something I tell every patient who struggled with leg strength or balance. Before you assume it's aging, check your wiring. Because when the nervous system gets what it needs, your body can do incredible things, even at 80. Now that we've strengthened your neuromuscular foundation, let's talk about something that keeps your muscles calm, your sleep sound, and your cramps far away. Backhand index pointing right up next. Magnesium, the great muscle relaxer. Magnesium, the cramp and tension reducer. Have you ever been startled awake by a searing cramp in your calf that felt like your muscle was being twisted like a rope? If that sounds familiar, I want you to know something. It might not be age. It might be magnesium. As a healthcare provider who's worked closely with older adults for over a decade, I can tell you this. When muscle cramps become frequent and your legs start to feel stiff, restless, or tight, the first mineral I think about isn't calcium or potassium. It's magnesium. Magnesium is one of the most overlooked yet vital minerals in your body. It doesn't just sit in your bones, it actively regulates how your muscles contract and relax. Think of it as the off switch your muscles need to unwind after activity. Without enough magnesium, your muscles can become locked in a contracted state, which is exactly what happens during a cramp. I remember a patient named Linda, 69 years old, who said, "My legs feel like they're always clenched, even when I'm lying down." That constant tightness was keeping her up at night. Once we optimized her magnesium intake, not only did her cramps disappear, but she also started sleeping better and waking up refreshed, something she hadn't experienced in years. Magnesium plays several critical roles beyond just relaxing muscles. It's essential for nerve function, helps regulate heartbeat and blood pressure, and even supports bone strength by assisting calcium metabolism. In fact, calcium and magnesium work together. Calcium makes muscles contract. Magnesium helps them release. Without the right balance, your muscles get stuck in tension mode. But here's the challenge. Magnesium is easily depleted by stress, medications like diuretics and acid blockers, alcohol, and even certain chronic conditions like diabetes. Plus, modern diets, often low in whole foods, don't always provide enough. Luckily, magnesium is abundant in many healthy, delicious foods. Some of the best sources include leafy greens like spinach and Swiss chard, nuts and seeds, especially pumpkin seeds and almonds, legumes, whole grains, and avocados. Even dark chocolate contains a decent dose. Yes, really. For those with trouble meeting their needs through food alone, magnesium citrate or glycinate are well-absorbed supplement forms, but always talk to your doctor before starting any new supplement. If you suffer from restless leg syndrome, nighttime cramps, or wake up with your legs feeling stiff or sore, there's a good chance your magnesium tank is running low. And the difference you'll feel once it's replenished? Life-changing. I often say to my patients, tight legs make for a tired body, but relaxed legs set the tone for better sleep, better movement, and a better day. Now that we've calmed the tension and relieved the cramping, It's time to explore another key nutrient that keeps your muscles energized, your balance sharp, and your bones strong. Backhand index pointing right up next, potassium, the true powerhouse for movement and coordination. Potassium, the electrolyte balancer. Have you ever stood up too quickly and felt your legs tremble or your heart race? Or experienced a sudden, painful cramp mid-step, even though you weren't doing anything strenuous? If so, you might be low on one of the most important, but most forgotten, nutrients for leg health, potassium. In my years of working with older adults, I've seen this scenario play out over and over. People come in complaining of leg fatigue, poor balance, or constant cramping. They think it's just aging, but more often than not, their bodies are simply screaming for potassium. This mighty mineral isn't just an electrolyte you lose after a workout. It's a key to movement, muscle control, and even bone health. Every time your muscles contract and relax, potassium is behind the scenes making it happen smoothly. Without enough, you might feel your legs cramp, twitch, or feel weak and unstable. It's like the engine misfiring in your car. Things just don't run right. I once worked with a retired firefighter named Joe. He told me, "I used to run into burning buildings, and now I can barely walk across the yard without my legs locking up." His blood work showed low potassium. After just 2 weeks of potassium-rich foods and a hydration routine, Joe's energy came back, and so did his stride. What makes potassium unique is its role in maintaining fluid balance inside muscle cells. It helps regulate signals between nerves and muscles, keeps your heartbeat steady, and supports the body's ability to neutralize acids that break down bone density. Yes, potassium even helps fight osteoporosis. And here's the tricky part. Your body doesn't store potassium the way it does other minerals. You need to consume it daily through food, and unfortunately, many seniors simply don't get enough, either due to appetite changes, restrictive diets, or medications that cause potassium loss, like diuretics for blood pressure. The good news? Nature packed potassium into some of the tastiest, most accessible foods. You probably know bananas, but you might not realize that sweet potatoes, avocados, spinach, oranges, white beans, and even baked potatoes with the skin on are loaded with potassium. A colorful, plant-rich plate is often the best medicine. However, a quick caution, don't self-supplement with potassium pills unless your doctor recommends it. Too much can be dangerous, especially for people with kidney issues. That's why food first is the safest, most effective approach for most people. I always tell my patients, if your muscles feel tired, your nerves sluggish, and your legs unstable, potassium might be your missing link. It's not just about staying active. It's about staying safe, mobile, and confident in every step you take. Now that we've recharged your cells and calmed those shaky legs, let's move on to a nutrient that often flies under the radar, but plays a critical role in steering calcium to the right places and keeping your joints pain-free. Backhand index pointing right up next, vitamin K, the silent protector of your bones and circulation. Vitamin K, the calcium director. What if I told you that calcium, yes, the very mineral you rely on for strong bones, can actually work against you if it's not guided properly? It sounds surprising, but it's true. Without a critical nutrient called vitamin K, calcium can end up in all the wrong places, like your arteries and joints, causing more harm than good. As someone who's worked with seniors for over a decade, I've seen this silent issue unfold many times. People eat calcium-rich foods or take supplements faithfully, thinking they're doing everything right. But they're still dealing with joint stiffness, bone loss, or even circulatory issues. Why? Because vitamin K is the traffic director, telling calcium exactly where to go, and more importantly, where not to go. Let me share a story that stuck with me. A patient named Maria, 73, came in complaining about persistent knee pain and leg stiffness. She'd been taking calcium for years but never heard of vitamin K. Her scans showed early calcification in the arteries of her legs. We adjusted her diet to include vitamin K-rich foods, like leafy greens and fermented veggies, and after just a few months, she reported less stiffness and easier movement. She didn't need more calcium, she needed the right partner to guide it. Vitamin K comes in 2 forms. K1, found mostly in leafy greens like spinach, kale, and Swiss chard, and K2, found in fermented foods like natto, aged cheese, egg yolks, and certain animal products. K1 helps with blood clotting, while K2 is the powerhouse that activates proteins responsible for moving calcium into your bones and keeping it out of your arteries. Without enough K2, calcium can deposit in your blood vessels, leading to poor circulation, hardened arteries, and increased risk of cardiovascular issues. What's more, Vitamin K has been shown to reduce inflammation in the joints, helping those with osteoarthritis or chronic stiffness regain comfort and mobility. For older adults, this can mean walking longer, standing stronger, and living with less pain. Many people don't realize that vitamin K deficiency is surprisingly common, especially in Western diets low in fermented foods. Add to that the long-term use of antibiotics or certain medications like blood thinners, and your vitamin K status could be far lower than you think. Of course, if you are taking anticoagulants like warfarin, you should always talk to your doctor before increasing your vitamin K intake. Consistency matters more than quantity in those cases, and sudden changes can interfere with medication. Still, for most older adults, increasing vitamin K-rich foods is a safe and powerful way to support bone health, protect your arteries, and improve mobility. A simple side of steamed kale or a slice of aged cheddar might be doing more than you realize. I always tell my patients, you can't build strong bones with calcium alone. It needs a map, and vitamin K is the GPS. Now that we've guided calcium where it belongs, let's finish strong with one more nutrient that fuels your muscles, repairs damage, and keeps your legs energized day after day. Backhand index pointing right up next, vitamin B6, the unsung hero of muscle recovery and nerve strength. Vitamin B6, the muscle recovery agent. Have you ever felt unusually tired after walking just a short distance, or noticed your legs don't bounce back like they used to after even mild activity? It's not just your muscles getting older. It could be that they're lacking the fuel and repair tools they desperately need. And one of the most overlooked nutrients in this process is vitamin B6. Vitamin B6, also known as pyridoxine, is like the behind-the-scenes technician that keeps your muscle systems running efficiently. It doesn't get the attention that calcium or vitamin D gets, but without it, your muscles can't recover properly, your nerves can't communicate well, and your energy levels take a serious dive. In my years working with seniors, I've had countless patients describe the same frustrating pattern. I didn't even do anything strenuous, but I feel sore for 2 days. That kind of lingering fatigue isn't normal aging, it's a warning sign. When your body lacks vitamin B6, it struggles to process protein effectively, meaning your muscles can't rebuild after use. And as we age, this recovery process becomes even more critical. But it's not just about muscle repair. Vitamin B6 is essential for nerve health and red blood cell production. Red blood cells carry oxygen to your muscles. So if your B6 levels are low, your muscles are literally starving for the oxygen they need to function. This can cause fatigue, heaviness, and that frustrating feeling like you just don't have the same stamina you used to. I remember working with a man named Don, a retired postal worker who still loved taking long walks every morning, until he started experiencing constant leg fatigue and numbness. His diet was clean, but we found he had a chronic B6 deficiency. After adjusting his meals and adding B6, rich foods like salmon, bananas, potatoes, and fortified cereals, he told me, I feel like I'm walking on my own legs again, not someone else's. One thing that makes B6 tricky is that your body doesn't store it well. You need a regular, consistent supply. And several factors, like alcohol, smoking, certain medications, and chronic conditions, can deplete B6 even faster. That's why I always recommend B6, rich foods first. Some of the best sources include poultry, fish, like tuna and salmon, chickpeas, fortified cereals, bananas, and starchy vegetables like potatoes. For those with absorption issues or dietary limitations, supplements may be necessary, but high doses over time can be harmful, so always check with your healthcare provider. What I love about vitamin B6 is that it works quietly, but powerfully. It keeps your nerves sharp, your muscles strong, and your recovery smooth, so you can stay active and independent, even as the years go by. I often say, muscle strength isn't just about movement, it's about recovery. And without vitamin B6, recovery doesn't happen. So now that you've learned how all 7 of these powerful nutrients work together to strengthen your legs, prevent cramps, and restore mobility, don't stop here. Backhand index pointing right, stick with me for the closing section, where I'll show you how to combine these vitamins into simple, daily habits and share my top tips for turning knowledge into lasting strength and freedom. You've made it to the end of this video, and that tells me something important. You care about your health, your freedom, and your ability to keep moving forward, no matter your age. Today, you learned about 7 powerful vitamins and minerals that can change the way your legs feel and function. Vitamin D for balance and muscle strength, calcium to support every step, vitamin B12 to reconnect your nerves and muscles, magnesium to relax tight legs and improve sleep, potassium to restore movement and coordination, vitamin K to protect your bones and joints, and vitamin B6 to fuel muscle recovery and resilience. These aren't just nutrients. They are tools your body needs every single day to stay strong, stable, and independent. I've seen these simple changes transform lives. Older adults who were told their legs would never recover now walking confidently again. That's why I believe it's never too late to start. If you've ever struggled with leg cramps, weakness, or fatigue, take action now. Comment below and share your experience. Your story might help someone else feel less alone. If this video gave you clarity or hope, please give it a like so YouTube knows this message matters. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this that will guide you step by step toward a healthier, more active life. I always tell my patients, your legs don't just carry your body, they carry your freedom. Whether it's walking to the mailbox, playing with your grandkids, or simply standing tall without fear, your legs are your foundation. You've now got the knowledge, turn it into power. Start by choosing just one of these vitamins and make it part of your routine. Even one small change can lead to big results over time. So stay strong, stay inspired, and above all, keep moving. I'll see you in the next video.